Apple recently released the first MacBook Pro redesign since 2012, and in typical Apple fashion, there's some controversy included along with the new machines. The biggest one people are talking about are the lack of legacy ports, and the need for adapters to use some of your current devices and accessories. With so many MacBook Pro users waiting for this redesign, let's take a closer look and see how these two machines compare and if it's worth buying the 2016 model or upgrading to it from the 2015. The new MacBook has shrunk in every dimension from the previous model, and even though it's not a huge change on paper, the change is immediately noticeable when you hold it in your hand. If your MacBook moves with you, you'll appreciate the smaller footprint. It fits better in laptop bags, whereas the older 15-inch is squished in many bags. Even with the smaller and lighter design, the cooling performance hasn't been compromised. In fact, it's much better. In my normal usage, which includes photo and video editing, it was immediately noticeable how much cooler and quieter the machine is. Connected to my 31-inch Cinema 4K display, the 2015 model typically sits at 58 degrees Celsius and its fans run at 40% with a noticeable hum that can get annoying in quieter rooms. The new machine runs 10 degrees Celsius cooler and perfectly silent. Taking it a step further, we transcoded video footage which maxes out the processors. The latest MacBook runs at an average of 85 degrees Celsius at 50% fan speed and full turbo boost speed. The older model runs at an average of 93 degrees Celsius with 100% fan speed and has to slow down its processor to keep it from overheating. Not only is the new MacBook cooler and much quieter, it finished transcoding 10 video clips about 15% faster. The last generation 15-inch MacBook had one of the best speakers on the market, and Apple has managed to improve it with greater loudness, bass, mids, and highs. This new machine has hands down the best speakers available in any laptop this size and has no problem filling a room with sound. The display has also been improved with better color accuracy, contrast, and brightness, which is really helpful if you use your MacBook in bright rooms or outside. Now onto performance. We started off with Geekbench 4. The new machine was actually 8% slower in the CPU test. Our new 15-inch MacBook has the base 2.6 GHz processor compared to the 2.5 GHz in the 2015 model. With further inspection, even though the processor's base clock is slightly faster, the max boost speed is 200 Hz slower, and under full load 400 Hz slower, which results in slower tests in benchmarks. Real-world results, like our transcoding tests, prove that the older MacBook can't keep up its higher speed for very long. Because of that, the new MacBook actually is faster while being cooler. In Geekbench 4's OpenCL graphics benchmark, the new MacBook Pro got a 53% higher score. In photo editing, both machines edited smoothly using Adobe Lightroom, but the latest MacBook was about 8% faster, converting 50 edited RAW photos to JPEGs. This is not a big difference since Lightroom, along with most other photo editing apps, are more dependent on the processor and don't max out the machines. For video editing, we see much more of a difference. The newer model was about 50% faster on average, with heavier tasks gaining a bigger improvement. Rendering a 5-minute 1080p video with LUTs and film grain applied was about 52% faster, and the same project with 4K clips was 54% faster. A much heavier project with multiple scaled 4K clips and effects was 94% faster. Along with these speed improvements, the 2016 MacBook Pro runs cooler and quieter. If you like to play games on your portable machine, the 2016 MacBook with the AMD 460 graphics is about 60% faster in Heaven benchmark, and under Boot Camp can play some modern titles like Battlefield 1 with medium to high settings at a constant 60 FPS, which is something the older model could never do. The two biggest additions to the new MacBook is the Touch Bar and the USB-C Thunderbolt 3 ports. Gone are the HDMI, Thunderbolt 2, and USB 3 ports along with the SD card reader. Replacing them are 4 Thunderbolt 3 combo ports that can be adapted to almost any connection. While most users are frustrated by the loss of ports, USB-C is the future, and Apple's change to these ports exclusively will drive the market for updated devices and cables. MagSafe is also missing, which is a great feature to have if your laptop cable is prone to being pulled. If this is critical, there are a few third-party options for the USB-C ports. While you'll need at least one USB adapter and SD card reader, many of your old devices can be used without adapters or dongles. As a professional, this isn't as big of a deal as most are making it out to be. Most of my devices don't need dongles to plug in, and the $9 USB-C to A adapter is slim, taking up almost no room in my bag. But I do wish they kept the SD card slot. The new 15-inch MacBook has the ability to power 4 4K or 2 5K displays like the new LG Ultrafine displays, which we have on order and can't wait to test out. We reviewed the 21-inch 4K model, and it's a display that matches the new MacBooks well and allows you to charge your Mac, send display and audio signals, and connect to additional devices with one cable, which is really nice. Along with that, if you're on the go, you can even charge a 2016 MacBook with a USB power bank, which is something the 2015 model can't do. In regards to battery life, Apple is claiming up to 10 hours of use with the new MacBook compared to 9 hours with the older one, but many users have been experiencing worse battery life compared to their older MacBooks. During 4K YouTube playback, our older MacBook displayed 21% longer battery life in the battery life indicator. When video editing, we didn't notice a difference, with both machines offering between 3 to 3.5 hours of editing. Testing the batteries during 4K rendering, the new MacBook lasted 40% longer before dying. So from our testing, during simple tasks like web browsing, the efficiency of the new processors don't completely make up for the smaller batteries that are included with the new MacBooks. But for medium and heavy tasks, the results will be similar or even a little bit better than the older model. Onto the touch bar, initially I didn't use it very much, like I didn't use Force Touch when it was released on the iPhone. But after about 2 weeks, I'm using it more and more, and I'm finding the extra features really useful. The touch bar is responsive and customizable. I love using the timeline scroll function in Final Cut and skimming through video on YouTube. There's too many features to list here, and my initial thought of it being gimmicky is gone. Just like Force Touch, as time goes on, there will be more uses for this technology, and it will only get better. Lastly, let's talk about the trackpad and the keyboard. The new keyboard uses the 2nd generation butterfly keys, and they're great. This new design is much more clicky than the 1st gen in the 12-inch MacBook, which makes all the difference. Doing a typing test, I was slightly more accurate with the 2016's keyboard, even though I have years of experience with the old style. After a few weeks of using this new keyboard, I can honestly say that I prefer it. The new trackpad is absolutely huge, and while I initially thought it to be excessive, I found it limiting going back to the smaller one in the 2015 model. The trackpad is a joy to use for multi-touch gestures, and the palm rejection works great. Overall, from my professional photo and video editing perspective, the 2016 MacBook is a great redesign and an update from last year's model. If you've been waiting to upgrade, I wouldn't hesitate to do so, and if you're trying to decide which model to buy, I would definitely suggest the new 2016 MacBook Pro. This has been Max for Apple Insider, and for more news, reviews, and analysis, visit AppleInsider.com and subscribe to Apple Insider on YouTube.